is about eating according to your blood type. This is called Eat Right for Your Type. It's by Dr. Peter D'Adamo. I heard about this back in 2008, and when I looked through for what I could eat and not eat for my blood type, there was a bunch of stuff under what it's not really poison, I shouldn't use the word poison, it's the avoid list, so I'll say avoid. There was a bunch of stuff in there that I really like and kind of lived on. So I said, I don't know if this is going to work. I might have tried it for a few days, but didn't get anywhere with it. And then was at the store where I work. It's a thrift store, for those of you who don't know, that raises money for animal rescue groups. But I found this little book was kind of sitting on the shelf over there, and I walked in, and I was doing something, and that book was there staring at me. And you know how when things are there staring at you, say, hey, I'm over here, come get me. So I picked it up, and I started looking again, and I said, you know, I really need to revisit this whole idea, because about 2 years ago in August, during that summer, I had decided that I had a new revelation, and I said, okay, diets are not any good. They don't work, 99% of the time. People gain weight back. So all that's just gone. But what I want to do is to eat so that I become healthier. Because, in the back of my mind, if I'm becoming healthier, I'm going to have to be losing weight. So that was my intent, if you will, with that. So in August, I went cold turkey and started. Why I came up with gluten-free, I don't know. I'd heard about it. So I went out to Whole Foods and I grazed around for a while, and my sister helped me, and I got a bunch of stuff that was gluten-free. At first I thought, this gluten-free, I'm going to starve to death, and I wonder if people lose weight, because people that have celiac disease and other things, seems like sometimes they're so skinny, but that might be other factors because of that disease. But I soon discovered that there's a lot of stuff you can eat that's not on gluten-free, like rice pudding, and there's just a lot of good stuff. So I've done that. I started doing that, and it was amazing that within 24 hours of starting it, but when I did it, I said, I'm going to go cold turkey, nothing is going to be there. Within 24 hours, by the next day, I've been a sweet tooth and sugar addict all my life. I didn't crave sugar at all. And now I did eat, I ate rice pudding and, some pastries and things that had a little bit of sugar, but it wasn't until Valentine's Day, this was August, it wasn't until Valentine's Day that I ate a piece of candy. And that was just blowing my mind. That all that Halloween candy sat on the counter for weeks while I was working, and it just was, so I had that experience with that, and that sudden, literally within 24 hours that change took place. And then I noticed after that, I got away, because I really don't have to not eat gluten. And then I found out that if you're not allergic to it, you really need a little bit in your system because of the way the bacteria and different microorganisms work. So I started eating things, but I noticed if I ate something that had gluten in it in the morning, then I craved stuff like that all day, and sugar and that. But if I didn't eat it, it was almost like miraculous, that I wouldn't. So, but I did that for a while, and over a period of time, and it was slow, and I've lost weight since then, 35 pounds. So it's been 2.5 years, and it's been very slow, but still, it's never, before diets come and go. So when I revisited back to this, I saw this book, and I said, I really need to revisit this idea and learn more about it, because I knew from the gluten-free thing, 24 hours, wow, there was this big change, so maybe I needed to try. So I looked back through the things I couldn't eat, and I said, okay, I love you. And it does say avoid. It doesn't say you can't, but it says avoid it, so as much as you can. But I said, I'm going to try it, because if this is going to be better and I'm going to be healthier, then I want to do that. So has anybody else had an experience like that where you, for whatever reason, maybe the doctor told you to not eat something or you change your diet? Has anyone else had a dramatic change like that? And not just going on a diet to lose weight, but just for some reason you changed your diet and noticed some effect from it? Has anybody?
Yeah, last year I noticed.
Huh?
Last year, before I met Chaz, no sugar, no processed food, healthy, a whole lot better, lost weight. But met him, got pregnant.
Yeah, it's a little difficult when you live with someone or have a family because, you know, they're not, unless they all, and we're going to find out, unless they're all the same blood type, you have a problem. Like you're making 6 different meals, but what you were going to say?
Well, I've returned to trying to be a vegan, and I felt a lot better. I haven't lost any weight. And believe it or not, it doesn't make you lose weight being a vegetarian or having a vegetable diet.
Right, so you just don't eat meat, you eat bread, or just you strictly eat only vegetables? Or?
Sometimes I cheat. I really try not to have dairy products. Once in a while I'll eat like oysters, something that doesn't have intelligence, it's meat. But you know.
Don't say
That's funny. Literally
Don't say that to the shaman. You
Wrong
know?
group.
No, it's
The
funny.
oysters are going to haunt me tonight. No, oysters.
Once-
No, I agree with you. That was good.
Yeah.
Right, it was funny.
Sometimes I do need some protein,
Yeah.
you know, every once in a while, but I mean,
Yeah. And
I'm pretty strict about it.
well, that's good.
Yeah. I eat like pretty much everything, but
Yeah.
like I've done the vegan thing before, like trying. This was back when I was maybe like 17, 18 or whatever. Like I was trying to lose a lot of weight, and I did because I had been like a chubby kid for a long time. Like once I hit like 12, it just blew up. But like
Tell me about it.
yeah, I started cutting out, like I was drinking like a ton of soda, sweets, all that stuff. My diet definitely needs a bit of correction. Like now I'm kind of trying to got back up there again a little bit, but I went vegan for like 2 weeks. This was back at the time. 2 weeks. That's all I can make. It was very like unsustainable for me to like go completely vegan, like permanently or anything like that. Because I like cheese. I eat everything. I'm an omnivore, but I do try and keep track of like making sure that I'm maybe adding things in that are vegetarian, vegan, as opposed to saying you're taking something away. Like I still eat everything, but I try to make sure that I'm adding in things that are like not,
Right.
you know, that I'm conscious of that. Because I am an A negative blood
You're
type.
You have A. Who knows what their blood type is beside anybody else know? What your blood type is? What's yours?
AB negative.
AB? Okay.
Mine is AB negative.
You're
7.
AB and
Oh, wow.
positive.
O.
Positive.
Okay, so we have a little bit of, you know, and I'm A. As far as the diet goes, the positive and negative is something different. The RH factor is a different thing.
Oh.
It doesn't really have, that I have found yet. I haven't seen anything in here in May. I haven't gone through it with this fine tooth comb. I mostly look at the, you know, the A part and the diet, but I don't think that has any. So good, so we'll have a few comments, you know, about the different types, and those of you who are can maybe give some more input with that. But anyway, the way, and this book has all the 4 diets. I read a little bit, I'm a little bit familiar with O because some of my family members were O, and so I was looking in there. But mostly A because some of us are A. And I kind of looked through the others, but I'm not real familiar. And there's so many things in here, you would have to look, you know, look under your own category and see what all the foods are. The way, and this little book is just like a portable one you can carry around, so I'm sure they have it for the other blood types. But the way this is set up, for example, there's 14, I think there's 14 different categories for foods. So there's meat, there's seafood, this one says eggs and dairy, they have beans and legumes, you know, nuts, condiment. So, and actually there's 14 different groups of food that they break it down into. So it's easy to find what you want to look at. And then within each category, for example, eggs and dairy, within each category there's 3 sections. One section is called beneficial, one section is called neutral, and one is called avoid. So what that amounts to basically is the beneficial section those foods, if you eat those, it's actually like taking a medicine that's healing your body or undoing damage that's been done previously. The neutral category, which tends to be like the largest one, so there's a lot, you know, that everybody can eat. The neutral category you think of is food. Like we normally would think of food. You eat food, you get nutrients, you have to eat it to stay alive. It's not going to be like medicine and like undo something, but it's not going to do any damage either. So neutral is okay. So you can eat beneficial and neutral. There's going to be a lot there in each category. The avoid category, and you see in this one, type A, unfortunately, they have a lot of stuff they have to avoid. This is the one under eggs and dairy, so there's not much dairy stuff in there for A. Most of it is avoid. There are certain kinds of cheese, like mozzarella, farmer cheese, like kind of white cheeses,
I like
or
farmer
ones. I
cheese.
think it's something to do with being fermented or cultured. Like yogurt's in the neutral list, but a lot of stuff is actually, you have to avoid it because, as we'll see in a few minutes, it's causing really bad damage, or can cause. And I'll give some examples from A, and y'all are welcome to look at the others if you want to see. For example, for people with type A blood, there is no, not counting fish, there's no meat that's beneficial. So there's no meat that a type A blood person can eat that's going to be like a medicine that's going to be good for you. There's meat that's neutral, not a whole lot. It's mostly poultry, chicken, turkey, grouse, you know, birds kind of thing, poultry, and a few odd things I never heard of, but they all have feathers.
It's a foul
You know, the
thing.
meat that you can eat that's neutral, yeah, they can get away. But the meat that a type A person can eat is, you know, that's it. That's going to be neutral. However, someone with type O blood, they actually have a lot of meat that is beneficial. It's like medicine. So, for example, you can eat a hamburger. It's like you eat medicine. If I eat it, I might as well just go lay down and say, okay, start digging the thing. Because it's like, on your list, it's medicine. On my list, it's like poison. So it's really that much different. And the way,
That explains when I see beef coming through
So
my
there's-
wife's grocery store, I drool.
there's,
I don't really
so there's a
drool,
lot
but
of
it's like,
meat.
I can understand how Pavlov's dog feels.
Yeah. So there are a number of different kind of like red meat that people with type O blood can eat that's actually beneficial. Pork, and of course you mentioned processed food. That's really bad, like for anybody. I think that processed
Yeah.
food, because of the, not so much like if you had like chicken lunch meat or something, it would be bad because it has the nitrates in it for anybody in that respect. But if it was just, you know, the meat itself, we're not talking about like, you know, packaged things or that have all that other junk in it.
So I'm more of a beef and pork person. I really don't like poultry that well, but I do
See,
like chicken breast baked or
Yeah,
grilled, and then
yeah.
I'll put it into a salad or I'll put it with other stuff. But
yeah.
I am not a poultry person.
And if you think about it, as you go along, if you look into it more and decide to investigate, you'll start, because I've started thinking, you know, people I know who are type O, like sometimes they have to have a steak. They're I have to have a steak, or you know, they get in this thing, and they're gonna.
Me not so much
But
anymore.
like me, you know, I mean, as long as I get enough and, you know, get full, I don't have to have. You know, I'm not saying that I haven't, because growing up, my mother was type O, and so I think without realizing it, she probably tended to make food that, you know, and she was real healthy and, you know, and everything with that, but not know about the diets. And my youngest sister was type O, and she was always the healthiest one in the family. And you know how that related to the type food, I don't know. And then me and my other two sisters were all A. I don't know about my brother, but I suspect he's an O because, well, let me back up one step. This started, the type O blood is actually the original, you call it caveman blood, but of course they had it before that. You know, there were people, humans have been pretty much the same as we are right now for about 140,000 years. And they weren't always cavemen. That was like 30,000 years ago. And then about 8,000 years ago, when people started becoming involved with agriculture, they started planting and doing, and you know about genetic mutation, this A mutation pops up. So the people who are over here growing and farming, the ones with the A mutation tended to survive better because that's the food that they had. And they maybe had, you know, some chickens and stuff around, but that's mostly what they ate. So the type O blood is the hunter-gatherer, so hence the red meat is good.
That's what I want.
And then I'm not real familiar, I haven't investigated into the B. The B is more like the nomad, the people who moved around, but it's kind of similar to the A. And what surprised me about that one, I thought, you know, a lot of nomads, like especially in Asia, they take herds of horses, they use horse milk and goat milk and camel milk, but yet on the bee diet there's not a whole lot of dairy. But you know, that's not really, that's a different kind of thing, because type A, we can eat goat cheese,
I love goat
so
cheese.
maybe that's why, you know, the nomads had the other kind of animals, not the cows so much and stuff. So that's how, you know, and then the other, the B and AB evolved, and like I say, I haven't read through all those other things in great detail because, you know, I'm just worried about A.
But you do this and it has helped you?
Yeah, and I was,
You noticed a big difference?
yeah, I was going to get to my little, you know, this thing about that. So back about 2 months ago, when I found my little book and I said, okay, you know, I did the thing cold turkey with the gluten-free, and wow, I noticed the difference. So I said, well, I'm going to do this. And I haven't quite done it as cold turkey as the gluten-free, but I've stuck to it pretty good. Within 7 to 10 days, maybe not even that long, a digestive problem that I've had for 8 or 10 years was gone. But I stopped eating, and I'll explain how this works. I stopped eating the stuff that was poisoning me, but it was like that fast. Other things are kind of changing too. I'm noticing other changes in my body. And of course I do other things too spiritually, so I don't know what's causing what, but my vision, I recently have been to the optometrist, and then they sent me to the regular eye doctor because I'm farsighted and having astigmatism. Usually, as old as I am,
I've had astigmatism all my life.
and yeah, and the older you get, and if you're farsighted, that just continues to get worse.
This
so,
is my vision like this.
yeah.
My right eye is up close, my left eye is I'm left eye dominant.
Because nearsighted people, their vision tends to get better because it's due to the shape of the eye, and as you age, your eye changes shape. But once it goes beyond that and you're farsighted, it just gets worse. So it's pretty unheard of for somebody with these two things. Well, I go to the eye doctor and the optometrist, and she's telling me all the things, and she says, you know, actually your vision got better. She said, it's just one step, but it got better. And I almost, you know, now whether it was that, or who knows, I'm doing other spiritual things, or I manifested better vision, I don't know. But and then the eye doctor was surprised too, because they did it again, and they said, how did your vision get better? So I mean, I don't know what it's from, but I mean, it's encouraging that these changes, you know, come about. So, you know, you can try. I mean, anybody can try it themselves. They have this, I'm sure, at the library and all. You know, you can check it out. And in fact, I got this one at where I work too for like $1 or $2. So it showed up later, you know, when I.
What's the name of it?
It's called Eat Right 4.
Your
They have the
type.
number 4 in your type, yeah. And
Very
you know,
cool.
yeah. I wish. I mean, they showed up for me because maybe they were, you know.
They were meant for you to be.
They were meant for
Because
you to
this one
have.
especially, and then when I was getting this one, Teresa came and I was looking at it, talking about it, and she said, oh, don't we have the whole big book here somewhere? And she starts looking through, and it was over there. So I said, bring it, you know. So I got them both over there. The way this works, and I might bore you a little, but it's short. But if I read it, I'm sorry, I don't like to read things, but if I read it, it explains it better than I can, and it might be more clear. So when you eat and the food digests, you know, it gets in your bloodstream. So a chemical reaction occurs between your blood and the food you eat. Okay, so chemical reactions going on. And what the problem can be is something called lectins. Lectin, lectins,
Heard of that.
and it's almost like a sort of glue, or it can be like a sort of glue. So the short explanation is, if I have type A blood and I eat lima beans, the lectins that are produced from that into my bloodstream are not going to go anywhere. They're gonna sit here. They're going to be like glue, and they're going to start attaching other things to them that you don't want there, and it's going to clog up your system. You're going to get these toxins in it. It says many food lectins have characteristics that are close enough to a certain blood type antigen to make it an enemy to another. So type O blood, like you said, you're universal donor, O negative, right?
No, positive.
O positive. Okay, well, so we're not going to worry about the positive and negative for a minute. But O, the A is actually an antibody. It's there's an antigen there, so it reacts to things. And the B is, so somebody with type A can get O blood, but you can't mix A and B because they're going to think, oh no, there's a something here, I have to fight it off, and you have this reaction in your immune system. So that's what the antigen is, and it says, for example, milk has B-like qualities. So somebody with type A blood is drinking cow's milk, my body thinks that it's an invading organism, or it's an invading antibody, that it's got to produce something to fight it off. So it's having that chemical reaction. If a person with type A blood drinks it, his system will immediately start the agglutination process, which is that grabbing onto things and holding all this stuff, to reject it. Here's another example. I mentioned the lima beans, and I just remember those for type A because this example was here.
I never had like those things.
The lima beans are digested in the stomach through the process of acid hydrolysis. However, the lectin protein is resistant to acid hydrolysis. It doesn't get digested but stays intact. It may interact directly with the lining of the stomach or intestinal tract, or it may get absorbed into your bloodstream along with digested lima bean nutrients. Different lectins target different organs and body systems. Once the intact lectin protein settles someplace in your body, it literally has a magnetic effect on the cells in that region. It clumps the cells together, and they are targeted for destruction as if they were foreign invaders. Hello. This clumping can cause irritable bowel syndrome in the intestines, or cirrhosis in the liver, or block the flow of blood through the kidneys, to name just a few of the things that happen. So has anybody ever eaten, somebody who's type A, eat certain kind of beans, and your stomach right away gets a lot of gas, that problem and things, yet other people seem to be able to eat that and not have that problem. So because type O, people that are type O, their body and the digestive process is slightly different. People with type O, their bodies tend to be more acidic. Mm-hmm. They metabolize, the food is metabolized differently, which is why they can eat the meat and the other stuff, because the acid breaks down that other stuff, whereas type A is not so acid, and that stuff just it's not gonna digest it. And that's kind of what happens. So, you probably want to drink a lot of alkaline water, which I do. If you're type A, because you want your body to be more alkaline too. Well, that's kind of an odd. I don't know if that makes sense, but alkaline is good too. So that's basically the scientific explanation. So it says the key is to avoid the lectins that agglutinate your particular cells, determined by blood type. So that's what the whole idea is here.
See, my mom could never get me to eat lima beans. But, and I'm a damn Yankee, so if you would my mom would make succotash, which is lima beans, corns, carrots, everything. Now Southerners will put tomatoes in succotash and call it succotash. I'm like, oh hell no. But my mom would never got me to eat it with the tomatoes in it, but I love it on rice, it's good now. But to get me to eat lima beans, she would prep up succotash. Man, I just tear that stuff up, but something about lima beans just did not sit with me. I think it was a texture thing. But that was the only thing, because a lot of people who have texture issues will not touch yogurt, will not touch bananas. But
Yeah.
for me, it was lima beans and butter beans.
Mashed
Yeah.
potatoes.
I know, I love mashed potatoes. Put some sauerkraut on it.
I
I'm
gravitate
golden.
towards black beans.
I love black beans
Yeah.
too.
Now,
And
black
I eat
beans
mashed
are good for A, that's like the, in the beneficial way.
Mrs. Sauerkraut, that's all.
Cool.
I can't
No.
do pintos. Pintos throw me off.
Yeah, but they're good for type A. Cause I just made some, for Sunday, pinto beans and black beans are like in the medicinal category. So, but you have to get, for whatever your blood type is, you need to have a little
I'm
book
the same way with black eyes.
and look it up. But have you known anybody, for example, my sister, we were talking about the diet, and my sister said, when I was in high school, this girl I knew in high school, we started playing basketball, and she said, I just started playing basketball, I've been doing that for the practice the past couple of weeks, and I've lost 8 pounds. And here my sister and I sit there like starving to death, we can't
Yeah,
lose 8 pounds. But I kind of think it's something, I was standing in a store one day and this man was over there and listened to a conversation, and he was talking and said, well, about 2 weeks ago I just cut out eating bread and I've lost 15 pounds.
And you're
I
like,
wanted to go over and just whack him,
I
You
don't
know,
eat a lot of
But
bread.
I'm convinced, that it's something to do with the blood type that for example, too, here's another thing, and type O can tell me, and type A, tell me what you think about this. My brother, I'm convinced he's got to be type O. He'll get up in the morning, we'll start working on something, he'll eat some M&Ms, or he drinks Pepsi and tea, so the sugar thing is different, but he'll go all day and work and not eat. He'll just go. But
He'll
like,
get
I can't do it.
Okay.
like once I have
I
to
get it.
eat, like when I'm at work, I'm like, I gotta eat now. I just want to make.
But it's
I
like-
get belligerent, but I used to not always
Yes.
be that way.
But type O, what I was kind of thinking, because it's kind of, just an unofficial experiment or getting information. Type O is the caveman, the hunter
Yeah.
thing, and like the hunters and carnivores, sometimes they only eat every 2 or 3 days. So they can manage and they can do for longer, whereas the grazers, like the horses and cows and all that, man, they're eating grass all day, so it's like, and like where I work, they were over there working this week, and I'm over here working in the store doing the cash register, and I think they're both type O, and I know one of them is because they go all day, and it's like 12:30, because I get up early, and so I eat. I can't go all day without eating.
I can't either. I
Oh,
used
no.
And
I never
they're
could.
drinking
I do.
Pepsis, when you don't have a clear experimental thing, they're drinking Pepsis with sugar all day too, so that, might be
That
part
will
of it.
fill
but
you up, like drinking soda.
You feel, your brain
gives you, like, a
thinks
false
your
sense
brain
of,
thinks you're
like,
full
Well,
and
that's
you're
because
not.
of the carbonation.
Yeah, that too.
that
Yeah.
too, but I don't know now how this applies to everybody, but with me, I do better with cold caffeine in the morning as opposed to hot caffeine.
Yeah.
I do too. I
Because
do
for
cold caffeine.
some reason, if I have too much hot caffeine, my eyeballs will be up here, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but if I have cold caffeine,
Yeah.
like iced tea, and I drink iced tea and water and other things throughout the day, and I'm not a big pop, aka soda drinker, especially dark sodas.
Yeah.
But I'm good to go, and for me, cold caffeine is more of a subtle caffeine buzz where I don't freak out, I don't get cagey, and I don't go let loose the fly monkeys.
Yeah. To see all those things like the caffeine and the sugar and all that kind of complicates this a
Yeah.
little, because that's something else going on in your body, with the sugar and all. But just strictly, like, say people were just strictly eating this for O and this for A, people. There's those people that can just go, they can work all day or do whatever all day, and then they finally eat,
I could do that when I was his age.
I used to be able to do that more.
And just tear up stuff, and I'd go 100 miles an hour all day.
Yeah.
But as I got older, and after I had kids,
Yeah.
it's like, as you get older,
Well, I mean, yeah.
it's getting older,
there's
and
good
pussies, it's just,
Well, I mean, ever since I lost my job over at Michelin, and I've been working at Amazon, like, I have,
imagine, you're all over the place.
You okay?
Yeah.
like, I'm normally up at like 4:30 in the morning just to get ready for work. And then I won't actually eat until I get home at like 7:30 at night.
But you don't know your blood type. You did know.
I'm O positive.
See, there you go.
Well, he's
That
only
just-
21 too.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, age is going to affect it. Other things, other medical conditions might, and
Yeah.
if people, drink, you know, the sugar and the soda, I mean, and, you know, this kind of stuff can, I think, affect,
Another thing is my diet mostly consists of meat.
Yeah. See, when I was your age, I did too.
so, but anyway, that's, kinda gonna slow down a little bit now. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, y'all are welcome to look in here.
Is there variations between positive and negative blood types?
No, I mean, I haven't seen anything in these books about the positive and negative. The RH factor, does anybody know what the RH factor is, what RH stands for?
I used to know it. I can't remember the term for it.
Do you know?
Venom.
I don't know the exact term, but I understand it's a lack of protein that's from the original blood type, whether it's A, B, whatever.
Yeah.
The thing I find is really strange is how neither of my parents are negative,
Yeah.
and neither of them are strictly one, blood type. They're like AB or something
Okay.
like that,
What type are
and
you?
I'm an A negative, straight up.
What type of blood
Okay,
are you?
did everybody hear what he just said? Because I can explain that. I have almost a degree in biology, so I can explain what happened. Both of your parents are positive and you're negative, which can totally happen because the, and it can be more complicated, but the positive is dominant, but your parents then were positive, and that's what showed up because that's dominant, but they also carried the negative gene.
It was more recessive.
And when it's recessive, so they could have had children who were positive or negative because you inherited negative from each parent.
Well,
And the blood type, what's your blood type?
A negative.
A, and
So
what
is
were
my
your
grandfather.
parents were? Happen to know?
AB positive, both of them.
Okay, so you just inherited A from both parents. They had A and B, and you know, if you did the little diagram, there's gonna be an AA matchup, AA, AB, AB, and BB. And that's just what you, and is that can totally
Well,
happen.
it was kind of a no-brainer whenever my kids were A negative because me and my mom were
Negative.
A negatives.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if both parents are negative, all the children are gonna be negative, because it's recessive, and to have that, you have to carry both negative genes, you can't be positive, but positive parents can have like either one, because you just have to have that one positive gene, and then that's what shows up,
So how do
that
you
can
find
totally
out?
happen.
How do you find out your blood type?
I guess you just, like your doctor can check it,
Or when you go to donate,
Same thing's quail.
if you have any kind of test.
actually was issued a blood card for donating blood
Yeah.
whenever I was in school, like elementary and middle school. He gave me this card, it came in the mail, and that actually kind of helped my ex-wife out, figure out what the potential for the child was going to be. And unfortunately, she didn't get it quick enough, and so they didn't know if the child was going to be a positive, and if it was positive, it'd be all out war inside the body.
Right,
So,
exactly.
when that happened, she ended up having to get the shot, and it's, from what I hear, is equivalent to a penicillin shot.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, you know, all that part of it, whatever metabolic part works with the
Caviar.
Well, it's just pretty much like, you ever seen Chinese fighting fish? You ever put two of them in a jar?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same thing on a genetic
Only in
level.
your body, yeah.
Well, for the mother, because,
Yeah, if the mother has negative blood and the father has positive, then the first baby is usually not a problem, because my sister's negative, and her husband, you know, was positive, but anyway, the first baby's usually okay, but during that process of being pregnant the first time, the mother develops antibodies and stuff, so when she would have a second baby, if the father was positive, that's what they call blue babies, and you know, they're born and they often die, or they used to in the past, so, yeah, but they didn't know about the blood types and all that, they didn't, you know, I mean, but the RH, I'll just tell you the thing that I know about RH. RH stands for rhesus, you know, rhesus monkey.
Yeah.
So RH, if positive, means that human blood there's some, and it might be what you were saying, but it's something about the protein, but it's something that came from, you know, and I don't know how, but it does so. Yeah, from other primates, whether it's in the whole long evolutionary thing or what, I don't remember that, but, and then negative just doesn't have that in it. It's just whatever probably he was saying, that the way your blood reacts and stuff, but it comes from, you know, because I was telling my older sister about it. I said, you know what the RH is, and I was saying, you know, it means there's this RH is rhesus monkey. There's something in the human blood from that, and she goes, oh, gross! I don't want to have monkey blood.
Peanut butter?
You know, but so how it actually came about, I wish I could be more clear, but I don't know. But any other?
Just a few other things I know about what I've actually researched.
Yeah, garbanzo.
RH negative 9 times out of 10 are going to be left-handed people,
Yeah, my sister's
or ambidextrous. I'm more ambidextrous because I'll write with one hand, but everything else I'll do bowl, shoot, whatever.
Right. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but you mentioned my sister's. I'm gonna have to investigate that. I'm gonna start asking people.
Like, I can throw up my left.
I know somebody else.
Now that you
When Johnny asleep.
Because he mentioned he's O negative, but he's not.
Be able to read.
But I mean, it could be just a predominance of them are. But I'm
Well,
gonna keep an
at
eye
one
on
point
that.
in
That's
time,
interesting.
Cornmeal.
Okay.
children
Oh,
were
right.
taught to see right-handed
Right.
because they didn't want to be singled
Put on
out
you
or
Right.
different.
Cream of rice.
And that was done in school, so it wasn't
Oh,
like
yeah.
parents
They
or
taught
teachers.
them, right.
Like
Right.
My
that.
writing's
He was
really
originally
terrible, so I
left-handed.
think somebody trained me
Yeah, I know
out
they used to
of
make kids
Yeah.
using my left.
Made things easier.
Any other,
I do a cream
And then my
of
well, thank y'all. I hope it was interesting and maybe
Sorry I
food
missed
for
that.
thought, so to speak, and look into that, for yourself, and if you can find out your blood type and just try it and see. Especially, like I say, for me, that digestive problem, which makes sense because the way that works with the when that process happens, like you eat the lima beans and this stuff, it's causes inflammation. So and type A people are more susceptible to that. So as soon as that stuff was out of there, it's not going to cause that problem. But it really, for me, that worked really fast. So
Well, it's like I tend to eat like pastas and stuff like that a lot too. And they say, like a lot of people say, oh, if you do low carb or whatever. But if I do low carb and I like don't eat pasta or anything like that, like I will like starve. I can't do the whole like green beans
but
and chicken.
find out what kind of grains you can eat because whole wheat is really bad for type A. Rye, if you have rye flour, and rye flour is okay. That's even on the beneficial list. But you can't go in a grocery store and get rye bread because if you look at the ingredients, the first one on there is whole wheat. So you have to watch that kind of thing. But some of the ancient grains, rice, like you can get rice pasta. You can get there's a lot of grains that you can eat that are at least neutral, if not beneficial, and try to find that kind of pasta. And just, it has a different taste. So a lot of people try the new thing. They'll try something new, and it doesn't taste the way they're used to eating, and they say, "Oh, I don't like that," and they give up. But I noticed that at first I didn't like it, and then I tried it for 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden my body was saying, hey, eat some more of that. That was really pretty good. Remember that taste was really cool. And I think your body knows what's good for it. So it's going to tell your brain, go and walk over, get the body over there.
And like the whole thing with like the no meat whatsoever, like seafood, like I always feel good